Okay, welcome back. This is going to be part 4 of assembling the Automoblocks. We've got pretty much the car all together. We just don't have the people and the windshield protecting them. They don't want to get hit with any stones or things as they're driving down the road, or anything else that could fall out of the sky. All right, so let's go to place, and we're gonna look for a part file, inventor part file in my folder, and we're looking for the passenger base. There it is. All right, place one of them, right click, OK. I do need to remember who was forward. I feel like it is the circle and the square that go towards the back. That's, I believe, the adults, and the kids were smaller and shorter. But let me double check with my exploded view from what I made already. Yep, okay, just making sure I remembered correctly. So there you go. I'm gonna basically it came in just the exact way I wanted it. I can look at the underside and you're gonna see that, kind of remember that we had shelled that part. And so that's one thing about this. It's pretty easy. We're just gonna do some mates on the sides. And then we're also going to mate the bottom with the bottom of the inside of that wood slot. But when we choose the bottom, there's not much material on the bottom to get that plane, but we're going to have to get this little tiny lip. Okay, so we got to be careful. We don't want to choose this because it's not going to go all the way down. This plastic, these little tiny lips is what are going to make contact first with the wood. But let's do that one last. So first I'm going to, let's see, constrain, just do a mate. We'll get the front, not to the back because that would spin it around. So I'm gonna spin my graphic window around. We're gonna get the front here, hit apply, and I'm gonna close since it kind of went inside so I can pull it back up so I can see. So I did the front to front, and maybe if I do a top view, that'll help you see which way it's moving this way. So I don't care if I do the right or the left side, but if I do the right side, I want the right side in here too, right? So let's do this. Constrain, mate, zoom in so I can get that face, the right side. I need to rotate this around. Get the right side here, apply, and I'm going to close it so I can pull it out again. I'm pulling it out so that I'll be able to rotate and see underneath. So let's go ahead and look at the underside first, I guess. Constrain, and here it is. This is where I got to be careful. There's really not much material that comes in contact with the underside. It's just these little lips like that, or this part of the circle. They all should be in the same plane. It was all one solid bottom until we shelled it out, right? So just anywhere you can grab that bottom edge, right? And then we're going to get the bottom of this cutout. Apply, and we should be good. Let's kind of look at that. Looks good. All right, and I want to tilt at an angle, and you can see that it's not in the wood. Okay, if you look at it from this angle and you can see like barely any of the star before you see the wood, then you on the underside picked kind of the surface that was up under the shell, and you actually pulled the green piece down into the wood. So then just kind of go back, and I would just look at these mates and flushes that you created and then just delete them here. Okay, so right in the browser you can see them. You can right click, you could delete and try again. Okay. All right, so let's get some people. All right, so Automoblocks female. There's one with the triangle. All right, and the people, I don't know if I'm gonna make you watch putting all these people in. Maybe we can get one of them in. From the top view, I can kind of see here how the triangle's going. And I'm gonna double click. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Let's see, free rotate. I'm gonna click on this person, and then I'm gonna come outside. It kind of will turn like clockwise. What I want to do is compare this edge that's facing straight forward on the car, right? That's the front of the car. And I want to look at what edge actually makes sense to match up with that. See, the person be kind of looking off at an angle here, so I'm going to keep turning it like a clock. Let's see that one, they're kind of looking that way. And if I get that one, they're actually working sideways. So could be that I didn't do a very good job when I built this person. That's most likely what happened. So I'm going to have to kind of tweak that. For right now, I'll do that. They're going to be kind of turned in. That's something I can always go back and fix. Or I don't know if I did fix it and it just didn't save the file. That's a star base, female, male. I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so that's maybe something I need to fix, but we'll just go with it for right now. All right, so constrain. I'm going to tilt this so I can see that face right there, and that is going to get then mated with this face. Apply, rotate back around so I can see. All right, I'll close this so you can see what's moving around. Okay, so go orthographic. There you go. I can't move to the left or to the right because I had lined up those two sides of the triangle, but it can slide along that edge, and so now I'm going to have to mate, as you can see, like another two sides of these triangles. So I pulled it away so that I'll be able to rotate and kind of see in there. So I'm going to constrain, and I'm going to just, let's see, it's got a pan so that I'm not grabbing that. I'm going to tilt this slightly. Try to do subtle movements and zoom in. I'm going to get this side of the triangle, zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to rotate gradually. Okay, I'm going to get the side of the base here that should match right there. I'll hit apply and close. And now what's going to happen is the person looks like they're kind of moving. What they're doing is they're actually moving in, kind of in and out, up and down. Let me rotate and you'll see better. So the only movement I have now, the triangle is lined up, but it can slide in and out, and I want them obviously to sit on the bottom. So I will grab the bottom of the triangle now, right here, and we'll rotate back around and grab the wood on the inside of that triangle. So it sits right down there like that. Apply. Okay, so just like that, you're going to come in and add the other people. So I'll do that here for you. Okay, so I got the people in, and I will note that the one with the circular base, you can just use the insert constraint, so don't forget about that. That's the easier. You know, you don't have a flat side, so you're going to want to use that. But we got the people on, so we're ready to put the windshield on. So we're going to go back and find our windshield. Let's see, there it is. I was right on it. Okay, windshield open, and I'm going to just click to place one. I don't want to place two. Right click and say OK. And this is actually backwards. If you would like to spin it around, you can. You know, there's probably a couple times I've done that when I've paused the video. I don't do it a ton, but if you'd like to know how, you can. So you can choose this free rotate tool and then click your part, and it brings up your kind of orbital tool where you can just move that part around. Okay, and if you've not messed with this that much, that's funny that's not moving with me, but just pay attention to how the cursor changes based on if you're in the circle or out of the circle, and if you're near one of these handles versus away from it, because that's going to change what it does. Like here it's rotating kind of end over end sideways. Here it's going to do it end over end, you know, kind of rolling forward or backward. And if I'm out here outside the circle but not on the handle, it rotates it like a clock. And then if I'm inside, it's kind of like this free orbit where it can kind of get all weird. Sometimes it is easier for me to more manually just use this, this, and this and kind of focus on one thing at a time. Okay, but basically this is close to where it needs to be. All right, the taller part is on the back of the car, the lower part is on the front. And notice your people. The shorter people are up front, the taller people in the back. Okay? So if your people and your passenger base were all spun around, and then you put this on that way, basically you're going to have some heads sticking out of your windshield. Alright, so if we take a little closer look at this, what is supposed to make contact with the wood are these little ribs that went down the side. If you remember when you built this part, it's been quite some time ago, but most of this surface is not going to come in contact with the wood. It's going to be these little faces right here, okay, right here. So we need to constrain it without putting it kind of sliding in the hole, kind of line it up with the hole. We want to get the front lined up, which means that little face with the wood, and then on one of the sides. So I'm going to do a constrain, I'm going to do a mate, okay, because these are going to be turning kind of facing out. So that is the side, so I'm going to rotate around and see the right side so I can see in. I want to get this inside of the wood block. Okay, hit apply, I'm going to close, and I'm just going to pull this windshield away so I can see, and then let's rotate a little bit. Constrain, now let's get the, we'll do a mate again, let's get this, notice the rectangle that's highlighting, that's facing forward, so let's go in and get the front side, which is facing backwards of that wall. Hit apply, we'll close that just so I can move things around and see what happened. So it should be that it's lined up with the hole, but just kind of slides in and out right now, right? It orthographically sometimes it's hard. Okay, there you go. So from isometric is hard to see. Orthographically, I cannot move it right and left, side to side. So let's look at it orthographically from side. You can see it's moving up and down. So that's all. Isometrically, sometimes it's hard to kind of tell what it's doing, but yeah, it's just moving up and down. All right, well, how far down do I want it to go? I want it to go until the underside makes contact with like this top of the passenger section with the wood. So the underside, not of the part that goes into it, but of the kind of the outer profile of the windshield. So we're going to do a mate, simple mate of this lip right here. See that? That's what's going to come down on the wood. So that with the top of the passenger section. We'll hit apply, close. Let's look at it orthographically from the side and make sure my people aren't sticking out of the roof. They're not. Okay, so there might be, I feel like, you know, not all the dimensions that Project Leads the way gives us are perfect. I can't tell. There might be a little interference where right in here, you know, that shelled thickness might have not shelled quite enough to make room for the person's head. We can actually, here's something you can do. This is cool. Inspect. You can analyze for interference between two parts. So how about I choose the windshield for part 1, part 2, if I'll get that person's head, and then hit OK. It's computing. It says a total of 1 interference detect with a total volume. Yep. So there's a lit, and look, it highlights it. It looks like a bald spot. That's Mr. O. Alright, so anyway, so it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. And as I suspected, that person's head was just kind of, if you will, smushed up against the glass. And that's a pretty cool tool that lets you see that. So you can see engineers that are designing parts and trying to fit them together. They can actually use that interference analyzer and make sure that it's a good fit, and that you shouldn't have two parts taking up the same space, right? Unless that's intentional, unless you have a material that is going to kind of flex and give a little bit and be compressible. Generally, you don't want your two items to both be trying to take up the same space. That might be physically impossible to happen without something breaking. So there you go. We've got a finished, assembled Automoblox T9. How's it look? I think it looks pretty good. Alright, thank you for watching and using these videos. I hope you got all the help you need. I hope you were a little challenged to work through it. And I hope you enjoyed it.